Okay, here with Stormy Grace, bringing the storm to Cleveland. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Stormy, have you ever been to Cleveland?
I have not been to Cleveland, but my family, like other portions of my family, are from Dayton, Springfield. So, and I've got even got a sprinkling in Sandusky, Ohio. So, no Cleveland, but
Okay, well,
close.
you're going to have to make your way over sometime in an in-person visit, but now we are getting ready for an online conference with, we're connecting in Cleveland with Nova Scotia, and you're our keynote speaker out in Colorado, and we'll all be able to join collectively online. So that takes place on March 27th. And if you could, I guess a little bit of background, Stormy, of what brought you to astrology? What was that initial nudge that you were like, what is this?
Yeah, it's super interesting because I've heard other people's stories of coming to it, and just it really makes me realize everybody has their own call when they get it. And for me, mine came when I was very, very young. And it wasn't so much like, hey, I have to go to astrology. It was simply that I have always been able to see spirit move and listen and know that that realm that lies, next to ours does in fact exist and move and things like that. So I'd always known that. And I was 6, and my mom took me to my first metaphysical fair. And it was neat, the herbs and the tarot people and just all the things were great. And I watched this woman, though, doing an astrology chart, and I felt like I was watching her do something I had done 100 times. Like I didn't even have to think about what she was doing. And it wasn't this epiphany. It just wasn't. It felt like I was just in the realm of what I do. And that didn't mean that for me, I just kept going with astrology, studying, I'm going to be an astrologer. I knew within me that someday I would do some sort of healing practice. I always felt like I was called to be a doctor. I didn't know what that meant at all. Like always kind of peeked in and studied my astrology, but it just wasn't this straight line to an astrology practice. And it just wasn't. In fact, for me, I studied languages a lot, and I'm a polyglot, and that makes me happy as ever. I have Mercury in Gemini at the top of my chart. I'm a Virgo rising. So the realm of languages is my love. And so I ended up in radio, being a radio DJ. And that was another one of those like universal moments, where you get a course correct. Because I thought, oh, I got to go to school and be a doctor, like a traditional medical doctor, except for I don't like blood. I don't want to touch on people. I was like, that complicates your medical practice. And instead, all of this kind of training and language and stuff came together for me. By me being thrown into radio and having to talk and talk and talk and beginning to do commercials and share languages or share information in different languages. And all of that rounded out, Angie, to me walking into radio that I fell in love with. I mean, I fell head over heels in love with this business. And I walked through the doors one day and it just hit me that I was going to leave radio. I was never coming back in the way that I had ever been there before. And I was going to start an astrology practice. And I'm telling you, it was like getting slapped over the heart with this information, and that I was going to not only leave there, I had kids and a mortgage. I was in school, like my life had busy going, and start an astrology practice on YouTube when I had watched one YouTube video, maybe. So when I tell people that my practice is a practice built on faith, that's what I mean, because that was my call. That was my, no, ma'am, this is the job now. Here's your role. And it was forceful and sudden and very scary, and also magical to build all the way, up until now, 9 years later, where I'm like, oh my God, how was I ever unsure that this was the thing? So it's been really interesting the way that call to astrology has played out for me. And it continues to evolve. I'm working right now at translating all of my work into other languages. So it's, everybody's call is different.
And astrology being the main language, but then you feel like there's these different dialects depending on who you learn from or what practice of astrology. We're Lake County Astrological Associations in the Midwest. We may have a different tradition of how we learned astrology and studied astrology compared to different parts of the country and the world. So and that's what you're going to be speaking to Lake County about, or I'm sorry, Northern Stars Conference about, is just bridging the gap between where astrology has been and where it's going.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that you're here to share it with us, because you've been able to build your community. You not only are you building what you're building for yourself, you're building other people up, and just building.
Yeah, well, it's funny to hear that word building. I feel like I haven't heard it so much as I have in this last 2 years. When Uranus went into Taurus, and I am a ninth house Taurus, and it just makes me laugh, that word building, because I'm like, gosh, yeah, like in my evolution into that, Tauran energy, I have watched the universe work through me and really build something that I haven't perfected. I can tell you, I don't honestly know how. There's portions I have no idea how I built it, but that I do know and believe that it's a language that should be available to all of us, and that we as practitioners should be building each other, because we can't be everything to everyone, and we can't serve every community, and we're not built that way. The craft is not built like that. That's like having one doctor in the world. It's just not what's right. So that word build, it's so impactful for me right now, and I hope that it actually feels good to other people too, in whatever it is that they're building. It's like, don't build alone.
Yeah, and that's what astrology can help do. It's just, if you want to go in a direction and something's calling you in the direction, and you have like maybe a lot of negativity in your life that's telling you, don't go in that direction, but then you can see it in your chart where it's like, yes, this is where I'm, supposed to go. So astrology has helped me in that way. And just being able to teach people more about themselves, and that's where the healing comes in. That's where your doctor comes in.
That's right. Yeah. It's like, I think the thing I remember is, whatever the language is, whether it's astrology or Spanish or French or Korean, whatever, we are human beings, and we're getting to have like this experience together that no matter what the language is, we can speak to the soul of each other and kind of revive, a willingness to get out there and have this human experience together, because regardless of culture, the spirit speaks the same language. And when we speak to that in one another, there's a little bit more fight. There's a little bit more willingness. There's a little bit more surrender where it needs to be. And that, I think, is really the point of any language we share with one another. It just so happens that the way I'm made is to speak it through the language of the stars, astrology quite specifically. So I just own that. I wasn't supposed to be a medical doctor, because you guys would be dead. Like, that would be it. I would never touch you. So I'm like, that is not how I was made, apparently.
Well, I guess then I just want to thank you for lending, your talent and everything that you're going, to help our group. We're Lake County Astrology, Halifax School of Astrology, and Atlantic Professionals Astrologers Association. We're kind of like your mom and pop astrology shops. And so to be able to have you come in, and I think we're going to gain a lot for our organization by hearing what you have to say about, how to run a business online, how to, get past maybe some of the fears that astrologers have, that we've, kind of studied a little bit more quieter, and that's just not the case anymore. So we have to break through some of those blockages. So I think that you're going to be, with what you share with us on March 27th, you're going to help our organizations in that way. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me and asking me. It is an absolute honor, because I can tell you, many, many days I feel like I'm just over doing my little thing, trying to add my contribution to the world and letting that be enough. So to have an organization say, we think that you're doing something that's beneficial to all of us is humbling, truly, truly humbling. And what I know, what I've learned, it is information available for all today. So I am thrilled to just come share what I've seen and all of the things I did wrong too along the way. I'll tell you guys that stuff too.
Okay, well, in the meantime, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me online. And I will say at the time that we're recording this, please, people, be very, very vigilant. There is a lot of scamming going on, myself and other astrologers. So be very mindful of any places that you're going to find where you would normally find astrologers. Mine is very specific. You can find me at stormiegrace.com. You can find me at Stormie Grace on YouTube. These are the only access points that I have. I do have an Instagram, but there's a lot of spamming going on over there. So just be mindful of who and how you're engaging. You'll know if it's me because I'll let you know that it's me. But you can find me at any one of those places. And you can also join me online as we are crowdfunding and raising funds for our YouTube Academy, which we started last year. It was a very Uranus in Taurus moment where in 48 hours, I created a school on YouTube that brings astrology skills to the table so that people who want to pass astrology along and have it in their lives, you can come and learn. We crowdfunded that school together and we're going for year 2 now. So I'll make sure that you guys have a link for that. It's a Kickstarter link and it's really exciting what we've built together. And the idea with the Academy really is to, first of all, not just get people intuitive information, but the skill of astrology. How do you delineate this chart so that 7 generations down the road, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren have access to this gift as well, because it came through you, because we built it together. So I would love support in that as well.
Absolutely. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's really wild. But I'm telling you, when Uranus in Taurus, if you're a Taurus, I love you. I pray for you. Hydrate. We're going to be good.
All right, Stormie, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Okay, see you on the 27th.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.